Hello students, good morning. Today we are again going to study our poem Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray. As you know, we have read its last 21 stanzas. Now we will start with our stanza number 22. I am reading out this stanza for your perusal. For whom to dumb forgetfulness a prey, this pleasing anxious being over resigned, left the warm precincts of the cheerful day, nor cast one longing lingering look behind. In this stanza, in the very first line, we can see a use of personification. The poet has personified forgetfulness as a predator who is about to devour the memories of the poor dead villagers. Here, in this line, the poet is asking a question that who is going to give up or resign their life, which is both pleasing and anxious, or to leave the warm environment of the earth without looking behind them at what they leave behind. Its answer is obvious: no one, especially someone whom, like the villagers, is going to be forgotten when he or she is dead. In the last line of the stanza, there is use of alliteration. As you know what alliteration is, alliteration is the repeated use of consonant sound, and you can clearly see the repeated beginning L sound in the last line, longing lingering look. Now we will move towards our stanza number 23rd. On some fond breast the parting soul relies, some pious drops the closing eye requires. Even from the tomb the voice of nature cries, even in our ashes live their wonted fires. In these lines, the speaker says that everyone wants to be remembered after his or her death, even simple poor country folks like the villagers in the churchyard depend on their loved ones as they die. They need some pious religious friend or neighbor to close their eyes for them as they die. In the next line, the personified nature cries from the grave, and the villagers' accustomed passion means their wanted fires live on in their ashes or their remains. Now we will move towards our next stanzas, stanza number 24 and 25th. We will read both of the stanzas all together because both stanzas are well connected to each other with the use of enjambment. When a stanza is continues to the next stanza, it is the use of enjambment, or we can call it enjambment. I am reading out it for you. For thee, who mindful of the unhonored dead, dost in these lines their artless tale relate, if chance by lonely contemplation led, some kindred spirit shall inquire thy fate. Haply some hoary-headed swain may say, oft have we seen him at the peep of dawn, pressing with hasting steps the dews away to meet the sun upon the upland lawn. Here, in these stanzas, I have already told you we have use of enjambment. In this stanza, the poet has introduced himself by using the word thee for himself. For the speaker, so the speaker is saying to himself that he is aware or mindful of the dead people who haven't been honored with lots of monuments, so he is memorializing them in these very lines of poetry. Then the speaker wonders what would happen if some random kindred spirit who happened to be musing or thinking on similar things might ask about the speaker's fate. He answers this question in the very next stanza, and while doing so, he applies alliteration. When asked about him, probably some grey-haired farmer would say that they had often seen the speaker hurrying through the dew-covered grass to watch the sun come up on the meadow lawn. Now we will move towards our next stanza number 26th. There, at the foot of yonder nodding beech is a tree's name, that wreathes its old fantastic roots so high his listless length. Here we have the use of alliteration, the continuous L sound. At noontide would he stretch and pour upon the brook that babbles by. In this stanza, the speaker continues to imagine what the hoary-headed swan, means the grey-haired farmer, would say about him. He imagines the old guys saying that in the noon the speaker used to stretch out at the foot of the old beech tree, the tree that has fantastically weird roots, and that he would stare at the babbling brook. Babbling means noising. In the line number 103, we can see the use of alliteration, as I have earlier told you, listless length, the continuous sound of L. Thank you.